Chipstones. What do we do with chipstones? Like this chipstone necklace here. It's really pretty. It has some round beads in it too, but I'm not sure that I want to take this one apart. But I do have some other chipstones that we can work with. This container filled with chipstones, and I've had them for a long time. Why? Because I'm never really sure what to do with them. Sure, I could make a necklace like what I just showed you, but this necklace is thrifted because I like to upcycle necklaces and things, but I have all these pretty stones and I haven't used them. So I thought in today's video we would work with chipstones, and I'm going to show you how to make some chipstone stackable bracelets. Yep, that's what we're going to do today, and several different colors and maybe 2 different ways of making them. Yeah, that's what we're doing today. So if that sounds good to you, keep watching. If you're new to the channel, I'm Vicki with Avante Jewelry, and today we're going to make chipstone stackable bracelets. And remember, my videos are for inspiration, so you can take my ideas, get into your bead stash, and make some of the items that I show you. Let's get started. Are you ready to have some fun? I am. I'm ready to make some chipstone bracelets. We'll need some memory wire cutters, because if you try to use other cutters, flush cutters, etc., you could damage them. So whenever you work with memory wire, try to have some memory cutters on hand. I have needle nose pliers. I have a small ruler. If memory wire is not your preferred type of wire to work with, before the video is over, I'll make at least one of these bracelets with 49 strand wire. So we'll make that one at the end. Oh, I forgot about the beads. How can I forget about the beads? Chipstone beads. Gemstones that are chipped into irregular shaped beads. I've had these in my stash for such a long time, and I just wasn't sure what to do with them. You can make a necklace with these, that's fine. Nice summer necklace. You can see I'm ready for warm weather here, although it's anything but warm weather here in Northeast Tennessee. Chipstones are typically very inexpensive to purchase. I won't say that you'll get a strand this long at the bead stores, because I bought these at a bead show, but they come in a long strand, and you can see here that I've separated most of my strands, and I have a variety of colors. I have amethyst, I have a white stone, clear stone, I don't even know all the names of the stones. I have some tiger eye. Forgive me if I don't recall all the names right now. I also have this pretty amethyst, a lot of turquoise chips. Could very well be faux turquoise. It's been a long time, years since I purchased these. I've got some mother of pearl, a little bit of everything. I'm not sure how many bracelets we're going to make, but I do know we're going to make several different colors, and I'm going to show you several different ways to finish out the bracelet around your wrist. We're going to look at several different ways. For the first bracelet, we're going to start with some turquoise chips. Again, it could very well be faux turquoise. I haven't cracked these open to see. Nonetheless, I'm calling them turquoise for the sake of this video. The memory wire that I'm using is 2 1/4 inches in diameter. And it comes in a coil like this, kind of like a slinky. It's called memory wire because it remembers to keep its shape. Doesn't help you at all with your memory. Sorry about that. I've been working with it for years. It does not help me with my memory. Not one bit. But you just have to find your end of it. Find the end. Okay, end of the coil, and remember this is sharp. You can file it with some fine sandpaper. I have a tool here somewhere where oh, here it is. If my batteries are still working. This is a combination of an engraver and a file tip. And that can help take the rough edge off. If you don't have one of these, which I expect that you wouldn't, you can find it in the links below the video, but you could also use some fine sandpaper. You might even be able to try a nail file. But back to the coil. Memory wire bracelets don't have a clasp. You just simply put it around your wrist. We want the coil to come around the wrist and then cross over at about 1 1/2 inches. So I'm just kind of roughly, here's my 1 1/2 inch. I'm just roughly eyeing this and taking hold of the position on the second loop where I want to cut it. Doesn't have to be perfect. That's the fun part about this. It does not have to be perfect. So here's our wire. You can see it crosses over itself about 1.5 inches. Time to bead. Now, I know you're probably thinking that I'm going to put these turquoise chipstones all the way around the bracelet, right? But no, that's not what we're going to do. That's too easy. We need to spice this up a bit. Mainly, I want to show you how we're going to take these chipstones and make them the absolute focal point of the bracelet. Well, I'll just show you. Chipstones come in all different sizes. I have a couple of different brands and a couple of different sizes in my stash. I'm going to attempt to single out some of the largest chipstones first and just pull those aside. That's why it helps to just dump it out on your table. And the holes in these beads are not necessarily centered. Not necessarily. You never know what you're going to find here. But I'm trying to get some of the larger ones and pull them out. Overall, these are quite small, compared to these here. I think these are a little bit larger. And these are even larger. And how about this one? Look how huge that chipstone is. First thing we want to do is to start putting some of the larger beads onto the memory wire bracelet. I'm going to try to put the absolute largest one on first. And then I'm going to kind of build the bracelet to the right and to the left. So I'm just going to turn it around here. And if you don't like the way it's laying together, just turn the bead around. But they are irregular, and they're going to remain irregular no matter how we put them on here. There's no way around that. That one's kind of long. I could have put that in there sooner. But you know what? Don't overthink it. Just put some beads on here. And after you have the larger beads on here and you kind of like how it's laying, add some smaller beads to each end. But when you reach about 2 inches of beads, I want you to stop. Stop there. Let's take a look at it. Sometimes you can see the wire between the chipstones. That happens. If you wanted to, you could put a seed bead between them, but it's not necessary. I think the only one that I don't like how it's laying is this one right here. I didn't catch that soon enough. And if you have any clips, these are just called gator clips. You can clip one of those on here to keep your beads from falling off the other end. But I'm not liking, I wish I'd caught it sooner, not liking that bead. So I'm going to pick up from there. I told you not to overthink it, and then what do? I start overthinking it. You can use some thin ones, some wider ones. I find this very relaxing. It is. Where are we stopping? We're stopping at 2 inches. Now let's take another look at this from the direction of what the bracelet would look like. I'm happy with that. That's good. That's going to work. Set the beads aside. I told you we're not going to wrap chipstones all the way around. If we did that, then this video wouldn't be any different from every other video out there, right? It would just be a chipstone bracelet and nothing more. Nope, we're going to do something else. A few different things that are different. I went through my vintage bead stash and I have some white beads. Let's see what size these are. I'm going to guess an 8. Yes, they're an 8 because it goes right through that hole. They're not a 7, and I don't know if you can see this very well on the camera, but that would be a 7, and this would be 8. And I do have a link for this below the video. It's actually not a bead measuring tool. It's a drawing tool, and it actually has far more measurements on it than the one that I bought that was designed for just beads. Has far more millimeter sizes. Okay, so we have 8 millimeter round beads. They came off of a vintage necklace and they are glass beads. And you could use a 6 millimeter if you want. I said to you that I want to make the chipstones the focal point. To do that, we're going to finish off the rest of the beads in white. We could do one other thing though, if you want. It's completely optional. You could add a metal bead of your choice, silver, gold, whatever you want. You could use a little metal bead to separate the chipstones from the white beads. Completely optional. My videos are always optional, aren't they? Those of you who have been following the channel know that we are not a bead shop. We're not a bead store. Yes, I have affiliate links that help support the channel, and thank you so much for that, for using the links below the video. But you know, my videos are for inspiration. My videos are meant to give you ideas and inspiration so that you can work with your bead stash and put your spin on it. Make it your own. Now, one thing we do want is we want the same amount of beads on each side. Let's count these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I do hope you can pick up some kind of little clip. Again, they're called gator clips, alligator clips. Pretty basic craft store find. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Well, that's not even now, is it? I've got 9 over there. I need to allow a good 1/4 of an inch on the end. I allowed extra when we cut the wire so that we could be flexible in finishing it. I didn't want to cut it too short. Sometimes I have a tendency to do that. Now we can move the beads around here, slide them down. See how much room I gained there? About 1/4 of an inch. Looking good. We can finish off with a small bead on the end, or we can just work with our white beads. I think I'll finish off though with a small bead. We're going to put a loop on the end. Some people put the loop to the outside, curl it to the outside. I've always in the past curled it to the inside. Some say that curling it to the inside makes it more uncomfortable on the wrist. I don't know about that because I've never had a complaint, and I've sold thousands of bracelets made with memory wire, but I think today I will try curling it to the outside. But before I do that, before I curl it, I want to see how much this is crossing over itself. By the time I put the little silver bead on here, again, this is optional, completely personal choice. It's all personal choice what you choose. I almost feel like I could squeeze in one more bead, but if I do that, am I going to cut it too close? I actually found some smaller white glass beads in here. That's a solution. Maybe that's the happy medium, putting a smaller white bead at the end as I'm tapering down to the end. Why not? And then I can get it to cross past itself just a little more. All right, here goes nothing, because once we curl it, we can't reuse it. I'm going to just come in about 1/8 of an inch is all I'm going to come in on my round nose pliers, about 1/8 of an inch. And this is very stiff wire, so you have to have a good grip, really good grip on your round nose pliers. And you hold on to it as tight as you can and curl it back and close it up. If it crosses over itself a little bit, just straighten it out slightly. So one loop done. Let's push the beads. You can see that my stones don't want to move. As I'm trying to push the beads around to the end that I just finished the loop, I can see that they're not wanting to move very well because the stones are kind of stiff on here. But they will move if you just work with it a little bit. But again, once you finish it off, there's really not much you can do to reuse the wire without making it shorter in diameter. I'm just going to check this one more time. I want to make sure that everything's mixed. Oh, see, that can happen. It happened. Happened on camera. And I'm not going to delete that out of here, because it's just part of what can happen. It's easier if you just make a loop and then start beading. But when you're making the first one of something, you really don't know how many beads you're going to need. And if you don't get it right the first time, you have to take everything back off and start over again. Once I've made one, or if I was making these to sell, and I know my pattern. Oh, you know what? Did you catch what I forgot? I forgot to work in this small bead on the end where I made the first loop. I forgot it. So now I have to leave it out of here, or I'd have to take everything off and remake this. I'm just going to leave it out. I just want to make sure I have the same amount of white beads. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 millimeter beads. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We're going with it. First time we make anything, it's an experiment. And then once you have it down, you can be very careful when you cut that and have glasses on. I always wear glasses when I make jewelry, so. Okay, good grip. Trying to get it to close up. You probably notice my voice sounds different because I'm trying so hard to get that closed. Okay, I think I've got it. I think we can straighten this up just a little bit. First bracelet is done. Our first chipstone bracelet. And look how the chipstones are the focal point when they are set against the white. Look how pretty that looks. And by the way, you know, I did say about 2 inches in stones. We have 2 inches of chipstones. The silver plated bead was optional, but I kind of like it. And even the one at the end. So there we go. First bracelet down. The nice thing about memory wire bracelets are that they stretch. They stretch without having any elastic, let's put it that way. About 6 3/4 up to, probably would fit up to even 8 inches, 8-inch wrist. We allowed the memory wire to bypass by about 1.5 inches, and I'm really glad I did because this is where we are. It doesn't have to go past itself once you're wearing it unless you want that. If you want that, then I would say cut your wire with a 2-inch overlap. I'm okay with it like this. Let's make another one. If you like this video, I appreciate a thumbs up, comment, and if you haven't done so, please subscribe and keep watching. There's more. We'll use the same color of beads. I have some wire here. Let's see if I've got the 1.5 inch overlap here. That's what I'm talking about in the overlap. If you want this to cross over more under your wrist, instead of doing 1.5 inches, go with 2 inches, and then you'll just add some extra beads. This time I'm going to work again at finding the largest beads. We are going to make other colors, by the way. We're not just making the aqua turquoise. I have plans to make others in this video. I'll just play some music while I thread these on here, and then we'll make the rest of the beads different from the white.
The sky is blue, the sun is high. Sitting here on my own, I think of you, you're on my mind, you know. To me that's alright. Green grass on my neighbor's lawn. Maybe I should take a stroll. And to me that's alright.
I'm at my 2 inches. Oh, here we go again. I tried that same bead here and I don't like it. I guess I'm just going to have to eliminate that one. The way the hole is drilled, I just didn't care for it. So even though I'm saying go random, go bold, or go home, maybe you are home working on this. I am. But anyway, just put these on here until you're happy with it. That's all that matters, is that you are happy with it. Okay, I'm at 2 inches. This time, instead of using white, I want to show you what this looks like with black. And I had a vintage necklace that I took apart quite some time ago, and it has like 3 sizes of black beads in here. I pulled out a size that's not the smallest, next to the smallest, and it's, how can I show this to you? They're just plastic, and it's faceted, but it's kind of oblong at the same time. I hope you can see that. These are the beads that I want to use. Oh, and do I want to put the silver bead? I kind of liked it. I'm going to go with that. A little bit of bling. Never hurt anyone. I don't know how many I'm going to need, so I'll just start threading these on here. Again, they're just plastic. You know, they're vintage beads. No one would ever know, looking at the bracelet, that they're plastic. So take apart those vintage necklaces and bracelets and things that you come across, and maybe even some of your jewelry that you have in your jewelry box right now, and maybe you can upcycle it, remake it, redo it. I was going through my jewelry box and taking a look at things, and I thought, you know what, it's time to start remaking some of my own jewelry. Do you ever feel that way? You know, styles do change, You know, some pieces of jewelry remain timeless and other pieces change, but then they circle back again, don't they? What was in style goes out of style, and then it comes back in style. So really, this whole trends of the year, I don't really get into the trends. I might do a video on trends. I did one last year in 2024, but does it really matter? You wear what you like. You make what you like, you wear what you like. I have no idea what I've got on here. I haven't counted. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. What do you think of that? Amazing for not paying attention. Do I want to back off a bead? Or can I do this? Fit one metal bead on here. I think I can fit it. I'm going for 1/8 of an inch in on my round nose pliers, thereabouts. Getting a really, really good grip. Just kind of work it. If it's not perfectly round, oh well, it'll be fine. It'll, you know, that's the word here in Tennessee. Do you say it'll or it will? My English has, changed over the years. I've gotten a little bit lazy with it. Okay, I'm going to make sure all my beads are pushed around because I'm holding on to this with my round nose pliers. I just felt them shift. I felt them move. So they weren't all the way around. Now, I can tell that I have far too much here to work with to make my loop. It's just a little too much, so I'm going to have to cut some of that off. Just a little bit. And yet I got to hold on to this so I don't lose my beads. All right, close my eyes. Okay, that's better. I'm going to get a good grip. Roll that loop towards the outside. Okay, I just wanted to show it to you in black. Turquoise and black. Isn't that pretty? And when I said the stackable, you could make several of these. You could do all white beads. You could do all black beads. You could do a variety of colors if you like. You could do all metal, all silver or gold beads. And yes, you can see the wire, the memory wire through the round beads. It doesn't matter. What do you think? Which one do you like best? The white or with the black? Now, these are a lot smaller, so that gives you an idea, too, how it looks with the smaller beads around the wrist versus the larger beads around the wrist. I actually think I would like a 6mm in this. It just depends on what you prefer. So there we go. We've got 2 bracelets down. And this one overlaps because I use smaller beads and I clipped off a little of the excess wire. This one overlaps more than this one. But you don't need a clasp. Don't need a clasp. Probably shaking the camera while I'm doing that too. Okay, enough with the turquoise. Let's move on to another color. I am going to ask you to vote at the end of the video. So this is going to be bracelet number 1 and bracelet number 2. Bracelet number 3. My tiger's eye beads are extremely tiny. My gemstone chip beads, tiger eye. Look how little they are. Gosh, you know, it's going to take a ton of those to make my 2 inches. But that's what I have, and I don't even know if dumping them out, if I'm going to be able to find any large ones in here. I have another piece of memory wire that crosses over about 1.5 inches. You know, I didn't file the last 2. You don't have to file them. I just wanted to point out to you that if you're trying these on before the ends are finished, it's sharp and you could cut yourself. So really just be careful about that. Trying them on in this state is not a good thing. I don't recommend that. Do you see any big ones here? Oh my gosh, hardly any. A couple. No, they're not big. I'm going for it. I'm just going to start threading them on here. And they're all pretty flat. I'm not seeing a lot of real irregular shapes here. I mean, they're irregular, but they're not really, not as much variety as these. Let me put it that way. But I need to get up to 2 inches to have a nice focal point. I don't know if I said it earlier in the video. I think I forgot to say it. The reason I don't like the chipstone bracelets all the way around the wrist is because I don't find them very comfortable on the underside of the wrist. I just don't find this comfortable. So by putting round beads or something like this, you've got the beauty of the chipstone beads, gemstone beads, without the discomfort that sometimes the chips cause. Now for a necklace, you're fine. I mean, that's not going to bother you. But bracelets, a little different. Boy, I got some really triangular shaped ones here. Hope you can see that. Trying to get to a couple of inches. Am I there yet, or am I past? I'm there. 2 inches. You know, thereabouts. 2 inches thereabouts. So how can we finish this one? We've done the black beads, white beads. Looks very pretty on the turquoise. I have another bead I'm thinking about using here, but I don't know if they're too large. I'm going to try it. These are 2Os, check glass beads 2Os. I don't have any small round brown beads. Maybe some cat's eyes would be nice, but I'm going to see if I can make these work. I don't know yet. I haven't tried this before. I found these in my stash, and you know I've had my stash for a long time. Do I want to put, oh, you know what? Do I want to put a gold, do I want to put a bead here? I think I do. And I think this one lends itself to gold tones. I have larger ones, but I think the larger ones are too big. Oops, that one got in there by mistake. I'll show you. I have a large one that jumped in here by mistake. See, that's the larger one. I don't care for the larger bead. See what we can do with these 2O. As I said, check glass 2O. They come in a tube like this. The mix is called Topaz, but they change their mixes. They're always changing up the dye lots and things of their mixes. I'm just going to randomly put beads on here.
To me, that's alright. I spend my days just dreaming about you. Well, now that's just what I will do. I'm telling you, the sky is blue, the sun is high. I'm sitting here on my own. I think of you, you're on my mind, you know. To me, that's alright. Green grass on my neighbor's lawn. Maybe I should take a stroll. And to me, that's alright.
Is it too busy? Let's look at it for a second. Oh gosh, it looks like corn on the cob. I hate to say that about check glass beads, but I thought of corn on the cob when I saw that. I don't like it. I do not think I can proceed with this. I don't like it. As I said, it's the first time trying this. So if you don't like it, start over. I'll put these away and we're going to try a different bead. Here's a tip for you though. If you don't have one of my little shovels with the tweezers on the other end, you can take the cap of these, scoop up the beads in the cap. Doesn't work as well. Not nearly as well, but you can do it. I prefer this. Always make sure you get your cap back on. I have these. These are kind of a slightly reddish brown. They're made by Cousin. They're 6Os. The reason I didn't pull this out first to use is because I think they're pretty irregular in size. That's why I prefer check glass beads. When you get to some brands, they're all different sizes. I'm sure you can see that right out of the gate. We got this tiny one, and this one's kind of angled, and that one's short, and these are long. They're all over the place. And that's fine when you're stringing a necklace. Will it be okay for this? I don't know yet, but I'm going to try it. I'm also going to try picking them up the easiest way I can. I'm going to try to avoid the really small ones. Now I could have used white or black beads with this. That was an option too. I just wanted to see what it would look like if we used a 6/0 or a 2/0. And maybe if these had been all one color, that would have been fine. See, I practice so that you don't have to. No, you have to practice too. Your bead stash is different from my bead stash. I don't think any two of us have the same beads in our stash. That would be impossible. Some of the same, but not complete. Oh, goodness. I'm just going to stop here, put a clip on here, and take a look at this. Is that doable? Oh, I don't know if it's translating to camera, but these have too much red in them. And they're very small. They're really not doing anything for the bracelet. I'm going to scratch this idea and move on to another option. I have some very unusual black beads in here. They're little discs. They came off of a vintage necklace. Some of them are still stuck together, some are loose. Oh, I do see some are larger than others. I'm going to go with the smallest ones. Most of those are already separated. And these beads are wood. So now I'm working in another unique element. We've got the gemstone chip beads and some wood beads. Again, some are attached to each other like 2 by 2. Some are 3. I've got quite a few of them. Can't remember the necklace that I took them from. I think I'm going to like these, so I'm going to keep going with it. I know you probably don't have these beads in your stash, but you might come across a necklace eventually when you're out shopping for vintage jewelry to upcycle. You might come across something like this. I think we've got enough. I actually really like that. How about you? I think it looks nice. Now I do want to put some gold beads on the end before I finish this off, and I'm pretty close to the end here. I can't really count these beads. It would be really hard to count these. I think I'm just going to go ahead, add a gold bead, make my loop. We've got it, and I like it. I really like it. I like these wood beads that I used with the tiger eye chipstone. Let's try it on. Again, we've got the chipstones. The chipstones are the focal point. That was my goal. We've got the little gold accent beads, and these are actually quite comfortable on the bottom of the wrist. And it's very lightweight. I forgot to say how lightweight these bracelets are. So now we have 3 bracelets. I had more chipstones to work with, so let's make another bracelet. And if you'd like to vote at the end of the video, this is bracelet number 3. Tiger Eye is number 3. What about if we put black on top and white on the bottom? I need to cut some more wire, and I want this to be 1.5 inches overlap, thereabouts. I have some black chipstones. They're not magnetic. Yeah, they're not magnetic. So they're not magnesite, just black chipstones. Again, I don't really have any really large ones here, but I'll pick out the largest ones I can, and I'll play some music for you, and then we'll finish this one up.
When I first saw her, a black cat crossed my trail. Bad news and high heels made me go off the rails. But one look at her, she's oh so fine. I know I've got to make her mine. She's just my kind, can't get her off.
Looks good. 2 inches.
She's my kind of woman. I need a soul. Yeah, my kind of woman. I can't let her go. 5 feet up.
I said white for the band. I don't know if these are going to work or not because they're pretty long and they're pretty good size. I just wanted to see though. This is from a vintage necklace and they're glass. Just have to see. Don't know if we don't try. Let's try a couple. It's not too bad, but let's compare. Let's compare those to if we just go with basic white. And if we stay with the white, then it makes our bracelets even more stackable because they have the same bead around the wrist. So you could put several bracelets together when they have that common denominator. The fact that they're all gemstone chips, and if everyone has the same bead around the wrist, makes it very easy to wear multiple bracelets together and stack them, one on top of the other. I'll show you here. If we just use the round white beads, then it makes it really easy to stack these on the wrist because they have the white bead in common. And chipstones, different colors, but they have the white bead tying them together, making them more stackable to wear them. Stackable meaning wearing multiple ones on the wrist. So for that reason, I think I'll just go with round beads, even though these are very unique. And if I had started with these, I could have used these for all the bracelets.
5 feet of dynamite will keep me dancing through the night. You know, a black cat got nothing on a lucky man.
Look how easy this is to make. I don't have any clamps on here. Get some of these gator clips. I'll try to have a link below the video. I think I might already, but so what did I have here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm going to make them the same. Now that I know what works, I'm going to be consistent. Finish with a silver bead and go ahead and make our loop.
I'm gonna take her to the dance on Saturday night. New shirt, new shoes, no room for oversight. Well, I'll be cooler than James Dean, and she'll be hotter than Marilyn. When there's electric in the air, you better be prepared.
We didn't have to count these. We just needed 2 inches of it. All right, I'm going to trim this back a little bit. I think this time I'll do it over my trash can because these little pieces can go flying. And if you're working with other people while you're making these, you sure don't need those little pieces to go flying. So if you can, cut it over a trash can and have glasses on if you can. I like this one. Look at that. Very classic, black and white. Again, if you want them to wrap past each other more, cut with a 2-inch overlap. I actually am okay with this. This doesn't bother me at all to have them right at this length, but you do what you like. Make one, try it on, wear it, see what you think about it, and then decide if you want it any longer. So this is bracelet number 4 with the black chip stones. Gosh, we could make more. I have all these beads over here. But I did say I was going to make at least one with regular beading wire. But let's stack a few of these. Let's just stack a few and see what it looks like. And by the way, you don't have to put your hand through here like this like people do. Just get a hold of it and go like this and put them on. I don't know why everyone tries to squeeze their hand through here. You don't have to. There we go. We've got 3 stacked. I have the black in the center on top for stacking, but my preference would be to wear 3 together is to have all of the beads around the wrist be the same. So if I had this one in a different color, like the brown, and I wanted to wear all 3 together, I would make these beads the same as the white. Either go with all black or go with all white if you're going to stack them. All right, let's make one more with 49 strand beading wire. I'll have a link for this below the video. And we need about, I'm going to make a 7-inch or so bracelet. So I'm going to take 8.5. I can typically finish off my bracelets with only an inch left over at each end. So this one we're going to do just a little bit different. We are going to thread on, let's just go with white. Let's thread on 8 beads because, you know, we know that that's a pretty good fit. Well, it is for me. It may not be for you, but, you know, adjust it for your needs. 2, 4, 6. I don't think I have 8. I don't know if I can do that too. I can do it. I have just enough beads from this vintage necklace that I'm upcycling. Just going to make it. I'm not going to go with the black. I want to choose another color, so I'm going to put these away. My only concern about the amethyst is that my stones are really small in comparison to these 8mm round beads. I think I want a larger chip stone. So if you're buying chip stones, keep that in mind. If you have very small chip stones, use a 6mm bead. If you have larger chip stones, 8 is good. I think these are too small for these beads, and I don't have any smaller white beads. What's your favorite type of chip stone? What's your favorite color of chip stone? There's so many, and they're relatively inexpensive. You get a pretty long strand for not a whole lot, and there's so much you can do with them. Sure, you can make a necklace like what I'm wearing here. You can make a bracelet. You can make earrings. You can make whatever you want with chip stones. But we're not done yet. I've got some howlite chip stones that are a little bit larger. So I'm basically doing white with gray white. And I want to start, because I'm stringing it on here, I want to start with my smaller beads first and then work towards the larger beads towards the center of the bracelet, you know, the top focal point of the bracelet. Just like we've been doing here. And just take a look at it. I'm actually not liking how this one is falling. So I'm going to start over. Some of these have some crazy drilled holes in them. I think I want a few more to choose from. I bet you can find these type of necklaces for no more than $3 or so in a thrift store. I mean, I guess it depends on where you're located, where you live, but and a lot of times these chip stones are mixed in with other beads on the necklace. Just checking, I need a few more. Again, this is howlite, just a gray white. Let's see, are we at our 2 inches? Actually past 2 inches. I'm going to go ahead and back off a little bit and just finish up with maybe this one right here. Okay, 2 inches. Put these away. Do you know what I forgot? I forgot to put a silver bead in here. And I really would like to have a silver bead in there. So I'm holding my hand on these so they don't get out of order too much. Add the silver bead and then try to rebuild this. Okay, that wasn't too bad. And another silver bead. Before we add our 8, last 8, I think I only have 8 left here. 8 round beads. Two, 4, 6, 8, 2, 4, 6, 8. Let's check this and see what we've got. Since it's on wire, I still have to add a clasp. I still want to add a silver bead right before the clasp. I haven't even thought about my clasp yet. I think we're going to be good for a 7.5. Now, I can put a lobster clasp or I can put a toggle clasp. If I want to stack this with the rest of them, I might want to have the clasp be a little subtle, you know, not a toggle clasp. What I've decided to use is a slightly larger lobster clasp than what I sometimes use for a bracelet. I have a closed jump ring. I'm going to use that instead of this. This is a little harder to get the clasp through. And I do want to drop down in size here, so I have a little more flexibility. So I'm going to go ahead, since I have two little white beads here that are smaller, I'm going to drop down a size and then go with my silver bead. And then I'm going to, I need a crimp tube. If you're not using memory wire, you need a lobster clasp, hopefully a closed ring. You're going to need a crimping tool. So you need a few more things. That's why the memory wire is so great. Let's go ahead and put the crimp tube on here. I'm going to give myself a little more room to work with, just a little bit. And I'm going to go through the lobster clasp. I'm not going through very far, and then I'm going to come back down through. I should have allowed myself a little more length for this. I said, oh, I can do this in just an inch, but I should have given myself a little more. And you also need some pliers. Push this up. You gotta have a little bit of flexibility here. I'm going to take my crimping tool. Mine says first position, second. The wires are straight. It's kind of like a little hot dog. Rotate it back to first position and test it. It's good. I'm going to slip it through my beads. Push all my beads down. I want to back off a bead here. Put the smaller bead and then the round silver bead. And then the other crimp tube. You can almost see it here. Okay, crimp tube. I've got the little ring, closed jump ring. I'm going to fold that over, come back through the crimp tube. I'm so focused, I don't know what you're seeing here on the camera. I have to be able to get a hold with my needle nose pliers. I have to be able to get a hold of the end of the wire so I can pull this. Well, at the same time, I want to thread this through one bead. That's my preference, is to get through one bead at least. See, this is taking so much longer than the memory wire, but you know, it's a standard way of making a bracelet. Pull this wire, snug it up. You may have pulling on the wrong side. I was. Snug it up, okay? However, you still have to have, make sure all your beads are pushed down. You still have to have a little bit of flex here. So I'm moving that down just a tad, getting my crimping tool. My wires are side by side. Follow the instructions on your crimping tool. Mine's first position, second position, first position, rotate and crimp. Give it a tug. It's not going anywhere. And then clip your wire. I like to use clippers that I use only for jewelry making. Don't have to worry about that. They're not used for anything else. Okay, we did it. I promised we'd make one with regular wire, and we did. And you'll find a link for this below the video, and a lot of other supplies that I can find. So here we go. The howlite with the white beads. Beautiful bracelet. So this is bracelet number 5 if you'd like to vote. Let's go through this again. Bracelet number 1, bracelet number 2, bracelet number 3, tiger eye, bracelet number 4, black chipstones, gemstone chipstones, and the wired bracelet number 5. You'll have to let me know in your comment which one or ones that you prefer when you vote. Just a reminder that my surgery is coming up the first Wednesday in February here in 2025. I'm trying to release a video every week, but if I miss one, well, I'll be back soon. Thanks for watching. I'm Vicki with Avante Jewelry, and I'll see you in the next video.